Hello, my Ramens. Welcome to the Ramencast. My goodness, my mouth sucks. And welcome to the second episode of Season 1 of the Anime Ramencast. Hey. I'm your host, Anarama, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Howie.
Hello, I'm just so happy that we actually, we synced up the clap. It actually happened. This is the first time. It's a momentous occasion.
Miracles. We need the trophy. Where is the trophy?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's probably just it would be one of those trophies that was made of chocolate that you give to kids anyways. So.
Wait, trophies made of chocolate?
Yeah, there are some of those. Remember how there was those medals that you would give to kids that were made of chocolate? Hello? Dang, all of this background noise is probably gonna be in this. Slamming of doors. Sisters yelling. I mean, Howie is
in
Howie's back.
Back. I gotta remember not to stand up suddenly from my desk or it'll screw up literally everything.
Okay. Okay. Anyways, random tangents aside, if you guys don't know how this goes, we go in a format of just concept anime episodes and then reviewing news episodes. Today's episode will be full of news and a review of the anime Flip Flappers, which will be in the later half.
Flip Flappers.
For those who don't know about this as well, we've kind of just straight up gotten rid of the spoilers, of the non-spoiler section. So we're going to be spoiling this anime.
Free speech.
Free speech. Plus it's a lot longer and harder.
It's so much longer and it's so hard to talk about stuff. And so if you guys want little baby spoiler-free reviews, then
go somewhere else.
But we're not gonna make them if they would probably be short, and we're not gonna make them if people don't need them. So
yeah, true. You can go somewhere else for that. You'll probably just go to Arcada, Glass Reflection, or someone else.
True.
This isn't that. If you want to hear us talk about an anime that we think's dope, you better be prepared for spoilers.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into the news just quickly. So the first piece of news is that Season 2 of Mob Psycho 100 was announced.
What?
You didn't know? Ooh.
No?
Yep. And it's by Bones
oh my gosh.
Still, too.
It's been so many... Why would it be by a different...
Because that's what they're doing for One Punch Man.
What?
Yeah.
What the what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways,
well,
so there's going to be a Season 2, which is really rare for Bones and everything. I wasn't expecting a Season 2 of Mob Psycho 100. So this has got me pumped.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yes.
I gotta rewatch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yo, can we do an episode on Mob Psycho?
Maybe, if the fans want it. Because we've already seen...
What fans?
We've already have some fans.
All 14 of you.
True. We have 14. This is the beginning of a podcast on a channel that has 36 subscribers. Yes.
What's half of 36? 17.
18.
All... I'm in college. All 18 of you. Because, I don't know. What, half of people who are subscribed actually watch stuff?
Yeah.
I don't remember
Probably.
the statistics.
It all depends on the channel, the size of the channel, stuff like that. Like with
True.
CG5 stuff, a ton of people are not subscribed to his stuff. And he gets more views than that, so.
Yo, music on YouTube feels like cheating.
Okay, yeah. It's the opposite of what happens usually.
Yeah.
Sketch creators, they'll have Ryan Higa. He has 20 some odd million, gets 3 million views on a video. You're like, what?
It's just, music is so, I don't know. Music, it's
easily consumable.
It's set up to succeed on YouTube, because YouTube is all about the watch time, and you can listen to a song at least 4 times in a day. I know I can listen to a song at least 4 times a day, and before I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can just binge watch songs, binge listen to songs where you can't really you can binge watch other stuff, but yeah, I don't know. You're more likely to recommend songs to people. And when you recommend songs to people, I think they're generally more likely to check that out than, like, a giant playthrough of something.
True.
So.
Yeah, we just went on to a tangent about YouTube.
Dang it.
Anyways, Season 2. Season 2. I wasn't... I'm pretty sure no one really expected that. Because I know that Mob did okay in terms of money in Japan.
I expected that because I don't know anything about anime.
Okay, yeah. For people who don't know, usually most shows don't get a Season 2. Because it's 12 episodes. At the end, it's going to be like, go read the manga. That makes us more money anyways. And that's what they usually do. They would make it so that people just go read the original source material or like leave it at a cliffhanger so then they go read the source material because it makes them more money. That's way more profitable than making another season of a show. That
is some garbage.
I mean, you gotta do what makes you money. If you're...
Yeah,
I know. While it's great for the consumer to have another season, if you, perchance, were, like, putting money into a show that makes barely the returns that you put into it, then you'd be kind of worried as well.
I will support this ridiculous money-making whatever, on the condition that they pay their animators.
I know, they barely do. And that's one of the... yeah, I'm hoping, because there have been some good changes recently, how they're, like, planning on adding more, like, Patreons for some animator studios so that animators can actually get more money. So, there's some other projects, but it's slow. It's very slow. They need to work on it. Everyone knows this by now, that it's in the anime community. That's big into the anime community. They know that. The people who make the shows do not get paid well.
Sucks. Okay.
Okay, another tangent. Done.
News.
Piece 2 of news.
Complete.
So... MakeBAB.ies, Make Babies, the people who made Senpai Club, have debuted a new show today.
Oh my gosh, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
This is such all the great news.
Yeah.
What is the new show?
It's called Satellite Young, and it's based off of the people who make the music for Senpai Club, who made that Senpai Club music video. It's set into the future, where it's just like a girl who's part of a karaoke... she's a lounge singer, but at night she's like shooting up robots and like saving the day, and it's like set with like the 90s, early 90s, late 80s, like futuristic cop vibe.
I am down. This looks great, and also like lesson learned: don't just search "make babies" on YouTube.
Okay.
What's the next piece of news, Nen?
Make BABI.es.
Period. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
What's the next piece of news, Nen?
Okay. Next piece of news is so there's a magical girl anime, and they've casted Kizuna Ai, the virtual YouTuber, as one of their characters.
Whoa! I don't know who that is.
That's why I wanted to discuss with you. So Kizuna Ai is a virtual YouTuber, as in they put like an anime 3D girl as like the main character of a YouTube channel. She's in charge of the YouTube channel. Somebody is like has green screen and she speaks and does all of like the special effects, but she acts as if she's this character by the name of Kizuna Ai, a like anime YouTube girl.
Yeah, I saw the only thing I've seen. I know what that is. Because I once saw Satan play Minecraft.
Okay.
But yeah, so this person.
Yeah, so she's become really big. I've followed her since probably like 30,000 subscribers, I just thought that was cool. Because she's now at like 1.8 million. And because people are flipping out that there's an anime girl who runs a YouTube channel.
What is she called again?
Kizuna Ai.
Like, what's the channel?
Her name's Kizuna, yeah. Kizuna. space AI.
You wouldn't have to spell it if you said it correctly.
That's how she says it. Keys in the eye.
Yeah, but like... Yeah. I'm just picky. Move on.
Okay. Yes. So she was cast in an anime. She's just become big in general. She's been implemented now. She's being implemented into the tourism system for Japan, like the official Japan tourism. Part of it's going to be run, well, not run, just like she's going to be like the face of Japan soon. And
oh, interesting. Like as regards tourism?
Yeah, as regards to tourism.
Okay.
That's all we have for news. Bunch of cool, random news.
Yay!
This is
news.
Yep, news. Hope you liked it. We went into great tangents as usual, and you could tell that we were excited about said news.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe.
Make sure you like and subscribe before we go into this part, which hopefully you listen to if you have watched the show. If you haven't and you just don't care about spoilers, this is your time. This
show is flipping bananas.
Yeah, okay, yeah. We're talking about Flip Flappers. Flip Flappers, if you don't know what Flip Flappers is, it is a show about two girls by the name of Paprika and Coconut.
You mean paprika?
Please. It's Paprika. We know.
It is paprika.
Later in the show, her flippin' name is Paprikana. It's Paprika.
It's paprikana.
Paprikana, yeah. Nah. Anyway, so the show is about these two girls going on adventures, trying to get magical jewels as magical girls, but there's way more to it. It's
yes, there is. Okay, so do we? Okay, so where do you want to start?
Let's just talk about what we liked.
Nen's mic cut out at this point, so I'm just gonna hit go and sort of improvise what I feel like I remember him saying. Maybe. Let's give this a go. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't feel like we're done with the premise yet. Basically, it's okay. When Nen says they go on adventures, what he means is something about this magical connectum between them triggers a trippy portal into an alternate dimension type thingy in which literally anything can happen. And I don't know how to describe this show, but nothing feels like enough. It is in the magical girl genre. The concept of magical girls isn't even introduced until like 5 episodes in. No, it's before that. Okay, 4. Wait. No, it's not. Yeah, it was. It was before that. It was before that, no, I'm sure. Did not. In episode 2. So the first episode happens, and Coconuts' hair turns different color, and she goes and saves Paprika. And then in the second episode, Coconut is in danger, and then Paprika's hair changes color, and she saves Cocona. And then in episode 3... Alright, yeah. Okay, fine. Wait, why though? Uh-oh, I don't remember what he said. Frick. Yuri bait how? Oh, yeah, so that's when the Yuri bait started, I guess, in episode 3? That's been present this entire time. No, it it's this conversation. Yes. Not the entire show, but it's been there. I mean, I didn't notice too much of a difference from the previous 2 episodes. But what about all the ladies with the evil lady in the desert? Yeah, but they were sexualizing Coconut and Paprika for the first 2 episodes anyway. So I was like, yep, there are more people. Yes, they were. No, they weren't. They're barely is still doing it. Just shot angles and composition and it's okay, well, I guess you have a point there. with the shot angles and whatnot. They're the weird alien girls for like 3 seconds and they don't do anything. But what about the weird alien girls? It was as someone who is not, what is it called? It's not going well. Acclimatized? Normalized? This is not, I have not, been desensitized to this. As someone who's not been desensitized, it was just as uncomfortable from the beginning. I get. And there wasn't any real upswing. I guess, that makes sense. That makes sense. Have become desensitized to this sort of thing, I guess. Which is why we do this as a partnership. Laughing, probably. We notice things the other one doesn't. Oh, you're so funny, Howie. I don't remember what he said. I hope he figures out his mic cutout real soon. There were like a couple episodes after a certain point, they like just stopped doing that for like a couple episodes. Doing what? Oh, and then it came right on back. It came right back. Yep, we're still with the sexualizing and whatnot. Why am I doing this podcast as like co-hosting with myself? Why did this have to happen? Oh yeah, what the... I was like, I thought we were past this, gosh dang it. And she like shows up. Oh, it was the blue-haired girl. We're talking about the blue-haired girl. Dang it, he missed a lot. These children are literally, they're literally children, they haven't gone through puberty, and I'm not okay. Anime's the worst. It's just the worst. I don't know what he said here. The blue-haired girl is pointless, probably, is what he said. Oh, maybe I should just cut this. Maybe I should just cut all of this. He's probably talking about more stuff that he liked. Which is why there's such a big silence here. I did not notice the score, and so I'm gonna say that's a good thing. A what? Like, it wasn't... I mean, I wasn't like, man, oh man. Oh, the score, but the music was like, good. But I wasn't like, what is this? He said the music was super great. It fit fine. It wasn't like anything like, oh my gosh, mind-blowing, but... I'm just going to talk a lot lower so that you can tell the difference between when I originally talked and when I'm this later. Oh, this is a mess. Nen, just keep checking your phone next time. This is so much time. We talked for like 10 minutes, I think. I think one of the best things about the show is just the creative visuals. Just everything about Pure Illusion. Pure Illusion is the weird adjacent dimension thing they go to. Everything about Pure Illusion was great. I don't know where you're trying to expositize at this point, like visually. If you're this far in and you haven't seen the show, you don't know what we're talking about. Or what I'm talking about, I guess. Do you want to talk? I would like you to check your mic.
It's continuing.
There we go. There we go. When did it stop? Finally.
14 minutes
Finally.
18 seconds.
Goodbye. I'm out. Back to editing. That's fine. As long as this one works, then I won't lose my mind.
I'm not sure. But whatever. As long as the other one stays, which I hope it does.
Okay.
This should be good.
Okay.
Anyways.
Well.
So there was indeed a ton I enjoyed. I'm going to continue with stuff that I enjoyed. Just pulling up the list again.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so continuing with the worlds, I loved each and every single one of them. They were, like, the backgrounds, everything about them. Holy cow. It just makes you want to visit them. They're unique, which seems like it's getting harder and harder to do when it comes to fantasy worlds in general. Yeah, they were just doing, like, literally whatever they felt like doing, and that was great. One thing about the show is that it's an original show. It's not based off of anything. Really? I was wondering, like, is this, like, a manga thing, or is this, like, the show came up with it? What is this based on? At one point I was like, is this based on a video game? Because it was just kind of really its own... like, sort of dipping into all these different, like, anime trends and stuff. And it was, I appreciate that. Yeah, it was an original by a not as well-known anime studio. They've only done, like, 2 other shows. but you can see how they've just taken a lot of inspiration from Gainax and Trigger, and those are just two other anime studios that are like they make really good anime as well. And you can tell that they like took inspiration, but also I could tell that was an original from how the story went, but we could talk about that a little bit later. I'm just going to continue with good stuff. Okay, I love how weird things get. Things can get so weird in this show. All like Super Bunny Man.
Oh my gosh. Frickin' what's his name? Uxtikill? Frickin'
Uxtil.
Uxtil.
Yeah, it's weird. That's a weird name.
Where did I write it? I'm just looking at my notes. My notes are really they're funny.
Mine are scattered. But...
I just went through and just wrote down anything that I thought of whatever. Where is it?
Anything that came to mind.
Yeah. So these are my notes from the point at which they arrived in the world. What? What is happening right now? Why is anything the way it is? And then I love this bunny when he's not a gigantic humanoid action man. And that's
I actually like
my experience of that dimension.
Yeah. Well, that's just you can just.
Why is anything the way it is the summary of the show. I have never seen a show with less exposition in my life. And normally,
but when there was exposition, it was way too fast.
Yeah, but like, and I don't think it was. I mean, okay, so. Well, first of all, normally I'm, like, down with abstract, weird stuff that doesn't necessarily need explanation, but there were a lot of things that I felt like really needed explanation, but mostly, they set Coconut up as, like, this intellectual, brainy girl, inquisitive girl, if a bit shy and quiet and reserved, but, like, intellectual. And she asks no questions of any character, no important questions of any character until, let's see, every, like, 5 notes, I have written, something like, someone ask your bosses some gosh dang questions. Coconut, you stupid child, I'm sorry, but good glory. Ask some questions. Coconut. How are you still not asking any questions?
Okay, and because she did ask some, but not that often.
Important questions. She doesn't ask any questions until episode 7 is when she asks important questions. And by that point, she has been hanging out with this weird alien child who has a magic...
It's not alien, she's
I know,
human.
But, like, she's got this magic flying hoverboard surfboard thing, and she's got this robot with a human brain in it, and she can travel to this other dimension, and then she brings them to this super shady-looking corporation. Like, they just go down this elevator, super sketchy-looking basement, and she's like, here are my friends, and they're these weird adults, and, like, one of them's like, the scientist dude's super creepy and weird, and the boss guy is real, like, he looks like some sort of, like, crime boss, gangster, and and no one explains anything ever. They just shove them into a box and send them to the magical dimension, and tell them that they gotta collect these rocks, and that, I don't know when someone said that they grant wishes, but I guess they said that they grant wishes at some point. And, like,
I think it was at the it was the first episode.
And
that was
like,
it.
So Coconut is, like, meeting this person, being like, you seem kind of whimsical and fun, and so I'll go on adventures with you, and then not asking this person who, like, sniffs you and seems to want to eat your bunny every once in a while, and, like, has all these magical weird science things, and then you agree to work for this corporation and they're not paying you, and they're super sketchy, and your life is threatened regularly. You ask no questions about what is going on to any of these people. And I mean, you don't even ask...
It kind of explained it at the end.
At the end,
They said how she Yeah.
But
at the very end, it did explain it and how she didn't want to ask questions or anything or make her own decisions because she's just so indecisive that she doesn't even want to speak up.
Making your own decisions is
different. She just goes with the flow.
Making your own decisions is different than asking questions of your best friend who you allegedly love. Like, she never says, "Hey, Paprika, where are you from?" Or, like, "What do you like to do?" Or, "Do you have a family?" Like, these are all... I mean, she asks they don't talk about anything, ever.
I mean, the thing is that with this show, it seems as if those questions may have totally been asked, but they just didn't show it on screen.
No, because if they were asked, things would be different.
I mean, we don't know.
They explain them to these characters later, so clearly they didn't ask.
I mean... Well, that's the okay.
And, I mean, Coconuts' character can be indecisive enough to not ask questions, but you gotta set that up from the beginning. You can't just be like, "Oh, this is the reason why. This is your character now." Like...
Yeah. It's weird, because we're, like, dipping into story and not at the same time. I'm just gonna go straight into story. The story is a gosh dang mess.
It is such a mess. Nothing... Okay. The first, 10 episodes? Super boring. Nothing really happens. These children are fighting to the death for things that they don't understand. Like, they have no reason to be loyal to each other or this company or, like... They're fighting their literal friend that they've had for years. And
I want to talk about that as well.
And so nothing, like, it's the most boring gosh dang show until episode, 10. Episode 9.
It's boring with what happens on screen.
It's so, I mean, at the end of each episode, I was like, I have no desire to watch the next episode.
Wow.
Dang. Okay, maybe it's because I'm straight, but, like, this show is so much cute girls doing cute things. That's literally all it is, with a side of trippy and some pretty colors and fun visuals. Like...
Okay, it is a lot of trippy. It's a lot of Yuri bait.
I don't...
My goodness.
I don't buy these kids' connection for a second. Like, them having this weird otherworldly connection, sure. But, like, I don't buy into their, like... And they are kids, yes, but, like, I do not buy into their deep love and friendship as, like, a non-magical connection thing. It just doesn't... It just...
I see Yayaka's and Kokono's connection being real.
Absolutely, yeah.
But, yeah, Papika and Kokono, it's kind of like they just force it. It really forces it.
Absolutely.
And the thing is that I could see them being friends, but not, like, loving each other kind of friends to the point where, like
I will
childhood
die
friends,
for you, friends
are not as important anymore kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna die for you kind of thing. That was...
Exactly.
I mean,
They just...
Also, I wasn't a fan of the Yuri bait because they straight up confirmed in the episode... Okay, the most interesting episode to me that didn't... Out of the 10 episodes, the first 10, was the one where Kokono was by herself in that world. And
which one?
Papika came in different forms. Like the guy...
Oh my gosh, that was almost so good.
That was...
Like, I was watching it and I was like, okay, what is this randomness? And then Paprika showed up as the, like, curly-haired glasses girl, and I was like, stop it, I quit. And then it turned into this, like, she's looking, like, you're looking for your friend, but, like, who really is your friend, and what do you actually know about her, and is it fine if she's, like, if she's still your friend, if she isn't behaving like the friend you originally made? And that was almost so good, but then they didn't leave it ambiguous, and Kokono was like, no, I'm finding the real Paprika. And that made me
that very end.
Because I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. This is character development. And then she's like, you're not real.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, I think, I'm now just realizing that that's supposed to set up the identities thing later. Maybe?
Yeah.
But
a bit.
Maybe a little bit. It foreshadowed badly. I think.
Yeah.
Because only now am I realizing that. And that was the most notable of any of the previous episodes.
Anyways.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Also, like, another thing is they confirmed that Coconut is straight.
Did they?
Because when Papika was in boy form, like the pretty boy, she was like, ooh. Like, she was, like, interested when she was a guy.
I mean, but that doesn't mean she's straight, though. She could be bi.
Okay, it could be, yeah, I know, she could be bi, but this is Japan we're talking about. They don't really do that.
Like, do not straight or bi?
Oh, bi. They don't really do bi
because I was gonna say...
They do a ton of straight characters.
No, I was gonna say, like, they do so much not straight and so much bait.
Yeah.
I should write a spoken word poem. Yeah, continue.
They did a lot of, like, Yuri bait. She could be bi, but I feel like she's straight. That's my feeling.
Yeah, but... I mean, I don't know. It felt very... I mean, if they didn't keep... yeah.
Yeah, because it's just, like I said, because when she was in the boy form... She's like, and she's like blushing and stuff like that.
I'd love?
Show that.
Yeah.
Just show I would like a show if based on that episode. I think it was like episode 8.
Yeah.
Where that happened.
It was good.
Episode 8. Show that episode as a show, as a kind of show. I think that would be awesome. Mm-hmm. Having a friend that was multiple different forms.
It wasn't episode 8.
Was it episode? It was Was it 7?
It was episode 9. It was episode 9.
9. Okay.
Yeah.
But still,
just kidding. I was
make
wrong.
A show out of
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Okay, so just make it. I feel like that could have been the show. That could have been better.
Yeah, that could have been.
While I love most of the concepts of this show, like the animation. Got so good at points.
Yeah, it was really good at some points. I thought some of the action stuff was really cool. I thought some of the directing was like some garbage, but like the shots themselves were good.
Yeah, I mean some of the directing was good.
Yeah, some of it was
just
good.
Depended on the episode.
Some of it was like, holy goodness, this is amazing, and some of it was like, what on earth is happening right now?
Yeah, it was. There's so much to like about this show for me. Mm-hmm. For me, there's a lot to like.
There's so much to like, and there's so much to hate, and I've never been more torn. On an anime.
I was so torn at the end too, because it was just like I love everything aesthetic-wise about this show, but the story felt like hot garbage.
Okay.
Because the storytelling was so bad.
It was really bad.
So jumpy. They just jumped in time.
When did...
Out of nowhere. Time skips.
Where
you could tell that they left out Okay, like with between the first and... Wait, no. I think it was the second and third episode where like Yayaka suddenly becomes bad. You could tell that there was like distancing and all this other stuff that happened in between, but they showed none of that.
Really?
They showed like, because Yayaka just looked as if she was normal, and then maybe like she gave one... glance as if she was like not too happy that Papika came in, and then third episode she pops in, straight up punches Coconut and Papika, and then takes the jewel, and you're like,
it feels like the first couple episodes like they had not yet decided what the point of the show was, like written the rest of the show just a little bit, like probably not, but it kind of feels that way.
Okay, the thing is that this show has been was planned out, not completely planned out, but it just like, it was approved like a year before it came out.
That's not a lot of time.
Well, like in terms of animation, it is.
Really? Oh. Well,
yeah.
Okay.
In the anime scene, it is, because usually they're planning up stuff 2 months before it comes out. That's how anime usually works.
That's horrifying. All right.
Yeah. Eventually we should do Shirobako, because that shows what happens in the anime world in an anime.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, because, yeah.
Can we...
But anyways...
Can we talk about when the show gets good?
Okay. In a moment, I'm just also talking about stuff that I really like, in general.
Keep going.
I was just... talking about how I really liked a lot of stuff. I think there's more good than bad, personally. But that's just one thing.
I think there's some bad, there's some really heckin' good, and then there's, like,
meh.
so much meh. Like,
yeah, for you...
Yeah.
Because with me, when I saw this, there was, like... With the sexual stuff, the first time when I watched the first 3 episodes, I was like, oh, Howie ain't gonna like this.
And I did not.
No, which is why I canceled it the first time.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to plan to watch this back in the old anime Ramencast.
days.
And instead did Ouran High School Host Club, which we haven't released that episode.
What? Oh, that's what we recorded. That's... I keep trying to remember, like, what was that one that we did?
Yeah, it was Ouran, and it was a great episode.
Oh,
but we never released it.
We'll release that as bonus content at some point.
Yeah, bonus content.
Boy,
maybe like
that show's so good.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
I thought it was good, but it wasn't to the greatness that you loved it. Obviously,
so
that was our verdicts, anyways. So,
sorry, continue.
Like, I really liked the tons of references to pop culture they put in. From Sailor Moon, Mad Max, Gundam, horror films, Alice in Wonderland, Transformers, The Grimm Fairy Tales.
I had to draw a line at Transformers.
Reference.
The
Transformers one was kind of stupid.
Oh my gosh, but it contained the only 2 jokes I thought were funny. You said this was going to be a slice of life magical fantasy sci-fi comedy, and you were wrong.
Well, I already told you. I was going to add this. The comedy was there, but it was meh. Most of the jokes did not land.
I thought nothing...
They threw in jokes.
I thought nothing was funny, and I missed recognizing most of the jokes as jokes. Like, I saw maybe, like, a couple real jokes, and I actually, like, genuinely laughed when... Let's see, scrolling down my notes.
For me, Bunny Man was one.
Okay, it was the Transformers episode, so episode 8.
Yeah.
When they're like, who are you? And he starts, like, launching into this, like, giant monologue of whatever, and it's like, this was another good moment of directing, and he's like, I am the creator, and the something, and the something, and then it cuts back to showing him really short, and Paprika's like, hey, Pops! And she's like crouched down to get on his level.
and he's like, that works too.
I legitimately, I almost vocally laughed, which is a lot more than most anime do for me. And then later in that episode, when he's like, oh, you're wearing swimsuits, I've got some clothes that you can borrow. And they, like, open the door, and it's just, like, 800 lab coats. And she's
tiny
like,
lab coats.
800 tiny lab coats. And one of the girls is like, they're all the same. And he's like, it's my aesthetic. But those were the 2 things I thought were funny in this show.
I feel like the main type of thing that they were going for in terms of comedy was visual comedy, and it didn't land most of the time for me. Mm-hmm. It was just like, you would see them in, like, swimming suits inside of, like, a cold metallic world. That was supposed to be a joke, and I was like, no, that's not really funny. That's like,
That's not even...
Bunny Man was supposed to be funny. The robot ogling girls in the swimming pool, that's supposed to be a joke.
I hate Boo. I was like, oh my gosh, this robot's so cute. And then I was like, oh my gosh, it has a human brain. And then I hated him because he was also a pervert.
There was a lot of weird stuff that they did with Boo. They kind of just threw him in as comedic relief, and he's not really present in the show. You kind of forget he's even there. Okay, so the thing is, this is a random tangent, but I just wanted to say this about Flip Flappers. I knew about Flip Flappers the moment it was announced, like, the year back, and nobody else knew about it. I just found it interesting, and I immediately put it in as I want to watch this from the cover poster alone.
I've not seen the cover poster.
The cover poster is of Paprika and Coconut holding hands as, like, this, with beautiful color palette it has with like the world shifting dimensionally around them.
Yeah,
and I was like, that is really cool art. It looked different, so I was like, I'm gonna give this a shot. Because it didn't say romance on it. It didn't say like anything else. It just said sci-fi adventure.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Okay, I gotta give that a shot.
Yeah.
So it was just like a long time coming, and whenever everyone was kind of hyping it up when it first came out, I was like, oh yeah, I called it. But I didn't watch it as it was coming out, so I didn't really join in the discussion. So now here I am, finally finishing the show 2 years after it came out.
Yeah. And
it was just, I have mixed emotions. You're going to be interested in my score at the end, but
I am. I'm interested in what my score will be.
Like, my guess for your score was probably going to be 6, because that just means fine. Like, it's a fine show.
We're going to have to, go over the MAL scores again when we get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that at the very end, because that's how this works.
Can we talk about when the show gets good?
Okay, when did the show get good for you?
The show got good in episode, let's see, I think it started, the show got good in episode 10, when, Yayaka and Kokona and Paprika have this big showdown thing, and Kokona is knocked unconscious by Yayaka, and then the twins turn against Yayaka because she won't stab Kokona in the leg, and then they shoot missiles at Yayaka and Kokona, and Kokona, who was already hurt before this and got hit by the same blast, is somehow okay, and then Yayaka needs, more intensive medical care.
Yeah.
So that happens, and Paprika's remembering, she's, recovering her memories, or she has recovered her memories.
She had recovered her memories, probably 2 episodes before.
Yeah. Wow, she held on to that for a while. Okay, so...
Yeah. All she would say from time to time is, Mimi this, Mimi that. And that's why I was telling you, with, the time skips, it seems like they skip over crucial details that they probably would have put into the episode just to keep it ambiguous. And it does not pay off.
Yeah, I think that's the main reason why they have so little exposition, because if they gave any exposition, it would just give everything away, which I don't think is a very good, I don't know if that's a very good trade-off. I would be fine with 2 episodes of, I could live with 2 episodes of Kokona and Paprika going on adventures and building this bond, 2 or 3, and then all this stuff goes down, and it would pay off just fine to me, as long as they gave the kids a more realistic bond to each other. But when it gets good is when Kokona is like, gosh dang it, Paprika, I'm not Mimi. You keep mistaking me for someone else. Is that how bad of friends we are? You don't even know me. Which is kind of is a testament to the fact of them not having any real basis for their friendship. And then she's like, oh, I can't trust anyone. And then she's like, you gotta keep Yayaka here. You can't just toss her out on the street. She's injured. Expecting them to be reasonable. Expecting these people that she doesn't know to be reasonable and have only behaved in a greedy way to be reasonable and considerate. And they're all like, nah, we're checking her out. And so she's like, I can't trust anyone. And she runs home. And she's like, hi, Grandma. And then her grandma betrays her. And she was a robot the whole time. And that was...
No, she wasn't a robot.
She was a robot. They showed her robotic corpse in the rubble of the house.
No, they didn't show the robotic corpse. They showed all the other robots' corpses.
No, there was one dressed as her grandmother.
No.
I swear to heaven, it was.
No.
It was.
No.
It was.
The grandma was like a person who just happened to have died. They had her die.
She had robot feet.
You saw her slippers, and that's all you could see. It wasn't that. They didn't want to show her actual death.
I'm looking this up later.
Yeah, anyways. So grandma betrays her.
Fake the whole time. She betrays her, and she's drugged, and she goes unconscious, and then
is about to go unconscious before Mimi comes in.
Mimi.
Her mother.
Whoa.
Who I guessed from the beginning when they showed Mimi. I was like, Mimi, this has got to be Coconut's mom.
How on earth? How on earth?
From the art style that they showed of Mimi for the 1 second, I was like, she looks similar to Coconut. Probably going to be Coconut's mother, since Coconut's mother has never been shown.
Ugh.
That's my guess. And it happened, and I was like, okay. I knew it.
As soon as
and then especially the moment when Paprika was just like, yeah, she was my previous adventure partner, and then you look at her and you're like, oh my gosh, she looks exactly like Coconut. She's Coconut's mom. But Mimi, being this all-knowing being of the other world, able to create anything out of nothing.
I mean, she doesn't create things out of nothing. She uses the elements of the worlds that already exist and remixes them into something that suits her. Because these are existing dimensions.
From what they've been talking about with this, is that this is like an all-knowing force that connects everything in the universe.
Yeah, but she can't just make stuff. She uses things that already exist.
Yeah.
Even like the repairing the thing when they're fighting her monsters. Even like when she repairs them, she uses the like time reversing bell. She takes things from the dimensions that already exist and uses them and combines them.
Yeah.
To,
true.
Work for her.
Okay, yeah. So it's just like
she has control over everything.
She has control over everything. Like, it's a creative way to kill people and robots off by turning them into flowers.
So much. She just puts a plant in their brain.
Yeah.
Just poof.
Yeah.
Freaking sinister without being gory. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Like, it's about like with the robot that's about to like punch her or something, and then just turns into 4-leaf clovers and like spread up into an upward curl. Yeah. That was great direction in shots.
My favorite thing about the entire show is the story of
Mimi.
Or
Mimi and Salt.
Paprika and I'll show this character dignity. Mimi, Paprikana, and Salt is the best story in this entire show, from their beginning to the point where to the point where Mimi like goes Super Saiyan and switches places with her weird alter ego, which is some garbage, but which I'll go into later. But like, honestly, from that point on, like from the point they first showed them as adults, I was instantly way more invested in their relationship. And I honestly, their relationships with each other are so, I buy those way more than I mean, I don't know, I care about them and I'm invested in their story way more than I care about the kids, and I care about the kids like 0%.
I mean, there is some stuff. Okay, with the ending in general, I would have to say that was probably the highlight of it. With Mimi and Paprikana and Salt, because that was an actual story.
Yes, it was an actual story. Man, I wish, and it was just, because it wasn't the main story, it was just so tight. The pacing on that was just perfect. And I would say
a bit rushed, but
the exposition was rushed. I thought the pacing of the walking us through their story was spot on. And I kind of
felt it was condensed, though. I felt like it could have been its own show.
I mean, that's what I was about to say. Like,
the
I kept
sequel
thinking,
or spin-off could have or should have been Flip Flappers.
I was about to say that I kept thinking like, I wish this was its own show, and then I like took a step back and was like, well, would it be as good if they drew it out? Like, I feel
like it could have been. I can see so many like
show,
other,
but like, I think
because
it
I could
was
see like an
really
episode
good
where
the way it was.
Salt, Mimi, and Paprika just like find out and try to escape the facility. It could have showed them growing up a little bit and built their connection even more.
I mean, for me, it's kind of like, it's so good, and I would like for it to have its own show, but I don't think it should because it would ruin how good it is.
You think so?
Anytime the show tries to do exposition, it isn't the most heavy-handed nonsense trash I've ever... Not the content of the exposition, but the way it is delivered. So, like, Salt and Mimi have lived in this place their entire lives, and they spend, like, almost every day together, pretty much, is, like, how it seems. And, and he's like... She's like, hey, it fits you. Your coat fits you. And he's like, he's like, what do you mean? She's like, well, it used to not fit you when you were a boy working in your father's lab. And and he's like, well, now that I am working full time, like I'm a proper scientist now, it's great. And she's like, oh my gosh, congratulations. And and they just go on this whole, like, this whole conversation about just saying things that they definitely already know. I honestly love, and maybe it's because I'm an adult and I'm not into cute girls doing cute things anime. Maybe that's why I loved it, because it was like, these adults in this interesting situation, and they've, that's not just because I'm an adult and I don't like cute girls doing cute things. Because
there's a lot of adults that
to
enjoy
each
that.
other, but he, like, Salt has loyalty to his, just in, like, relating to middle schoolers that have no brains versus relating to adults with problems. They have complicated relationships with each other, like problematic relationships within opinions of each other. And they've got loyalties to, like, themselves and each other and other parties and stuff, and they're in this weird situation. And that's so much better than this girl and this girl they're so whimsical. And they have a connection because they're
friends. They met each other once.
Some weird trippy dimension stuff. They don't talk about anything, but they sure do love each other. I mean, they don't do anything besides, like, fight stuff and save each other's lives, and they don't talk about anything, and it's just like, you aren't friends.
Yeah, it's just interesting, because with this show, it's just, you could tell that I feel like the original premise of the show, which would have not have been, which most of it was, and it's not your cup of tea, it's just, they were supposed to just go to different worlds and experience things.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that was fine. I was fine with that
But
part.
they experienced the same thing over and over and over and over again.
I know. That's kind of how that goes.
And they just occasionally made... I mean, the only, like, character development was they occasionally made Coconut mad at Paprika for some dumb reason, and then it's fine.
Yeah.
And nothing is
fixed. That's the thing.
Nothing changes.
That's what the... And the thing is that I'm pretty sure that was the original goal of the show, not to have much of a story, because that was the point. They weren't supposed to really grow as characters or anything like that.
I mean,
they're supposed to just go on adventures. And that's not, and I know, that's not your type, but there is that's kind of like some of the slice of life that you don't like.
I mean, I think that's fine, but you gotta justify the thing, you gotta justify that. Like, I don't know, you gotta have... If they didn't throw in the flip-flap company, corporation, shady, like, mob boss guy, like, if they didn't have that, that's a great show. Do whatever you want. But because they throw that in, it just, they're like, let's get real. They're like,
and the thing
let's
is, it
get
never
real.
Even,
and, it
never even really...
It doesn't
focused
fit
on that until later.
And that's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird.
You could tell that there was probably, like, conflict in the studio when they were talking ideas. And this is my theory. is that they were just like, this is our chance to make a cool original show. Their original idea, probably my idea, was that they were just like, let's do a show where two cute girls explore different worlds. No trouble, no nothing. You don't need to collect anything. They're just exploring because it's different dimensions. It's the chance to go see different dimensions. They're gonna maybe have funny character dialogue, and one's gonna be completely different from the other. So then you can have interesting banter, and that's what we're gonna have. But then somebody else was probably going to be like, hey.
And then they crossed out the word interest, the words they're going to have interesting banter. And then they continued their meaning. Sorry, go ahead.
Actually, no, then they were going to be like, hey, actually, there's been some shows where we have the cute magical girls, and then things don't go as they seem. Why don't we just do that? And they were like, that means we're going to have to add a lot of things that don't match with this, but we can make it work. That was my guess. They were probably they just added all this other supposed story, and crammed it in because they just felt like it could make the show better without even really thinking about it.
I feel like they wrote a couple episodes, and then they were like, man, we gotta, maybe we should have reasons for this happening. And then they wrote the reasons, and they were like, this sort of, we'll, sprinkle it in, so it's like, oh, mystery, but we won't explain any of it, and so it'll be like, oh, mystery.
And then at the end, they'll be like, well, the thing is that they were going with, the whole mystery of, let's leave out all these details, so at the very end, everything makes sense, and it didn't work. There's a lot of questions still needing to be answered, but whatevs.
Yeah, and these people do not know how to write a mystery, at all.
Yeah.
They're just like, we'll throw in a whole bunch of stuff and we won't explain it, and then later, we'll explain it. And, that's not how a mystery works. But, yeah, I don't know. Once episode 11 hit, I loved pretty much everything that was happening. I was like, yes, this is the bomb. This is my favorite. This is so great. Forget coconut and paprika. These guys though. His father goes bananas, and then just that little moment where he was just at his desk, not moving, not saying anything, just absolutely distraught and can't see his face. It's just that static shot, and then the girl's trying to apologize or just connect with him and or console him somehow, and it just cuts back to the static shot of him, and then I don't know, that moment was so good, and that is what makes me feel like if they had turned this into its own anime, they would just get I don't know, they seem to hyper focus on all the wrong things when it comes to the story and the characters.
In terms of its own show, I'm not sure if the same company should have done it. It could have been a different company who would have done it, and I feel like if a different studio handled a story like that, it would have been done better.
Yeah.
The thing is that with this studio, you could tell that they were probably the animators or artists for a show, but they didn't focus on the writing.
Yeah.
So they got somebody else to do the writing, and this is their first big thing by themselves. Because the two other shows that they did weren't too big. There was Dimension W, which I heard was okay. And this other one, which is a cute moe blob show that I don't really know anything about. So when they go from just their one other show, to a full-blown sci-fi show that's just out of this world, going to different dimensions, you could tell the story just wasn't done or handled correctly. One thing is that I really like hearing your perspective on the ending, because I have a different perspective.
Okay.
Because for me, the ending felt rushed and cluttered.
It was so fast. In comparison to the rest of the show, it was so fast. And at that point, I was just like, give it to me. As long as it...
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like there are two different shows. there was a show at the beginning that's all focused on the animation, and then I don't know, it kind of feels like they brought the writers in later and we're like, okay, like we gotta give this some story. Like they showed it to the bosses and they're like, here's this, and they're like, there's got some things have to happen, and then they brought in the writers and there's this big argument between the writers and the artists, and so they're like, okay, we'll have a bunch of story stuff kind of towards the end to wrap up the show, and well build up to it with all the animated stuff, because you've already got this sort of planned and you got this thing going. So I kind of see them as two different shows, a little bit.
It was at the end. It felt so rushed and cluttered. It's like I did like that story bit, but I felt like it was so rushed and cluttered that it didn't hit as hard for me as it could have been.
I mean, obviously it could have hit harder, but it made far more of an impact than the entire other, like, all previous 10 episodes of the show did.
Yeah,
I would. That is an enormous problem with the rest of the show.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah, because with the ending, they added a ton of the characters. They just brought them back out of nowhere for no reason. That random lolly girl who did all the yarning and stuff, they built her up.
She just
for no reason.
Yeah.
They just put her in for the one camel toe shot where she was about to shoot people with a gun and look cute.
And then
they just have her
says something
going
maybe,
along with
and then she's just the good guy now. Like,
Yeah,
I thought it was so
there.
weird, like, how they kept cutting back to Boo, and this chick is like, why do we care? We don't care about these guys.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Here's what they did. It's just like, they bring in the random lolly girl along for no reason, and they were like, wait, scratch that. They probably put her there for all these random shots for comedic effect, since they couldn't follow up with the series build-up they made.
Yeah.
They were probably we built up this girl. Oh, frick, we forgot about her.
They just ran out of time.
They ran out of time. You could tell that they've had enough ideas for this to be a 26-episode show.
Yeah.
If they had more time, I actually kind of want to see that more. Because I feel like if they fleshed everything out...
Yeah, if they
and put in the story bits and everything...
from episode 10 onwards, I would be down. If they extended the previous episodes anymore, I would just quit.
No. Here's what I was meaning for the beginning episodes. They actually put in their character development. I felt like
if they put in character development, so down with the show.
I felt from the beginning like they had character development that they were going to put in.
Mm-hmm.
Like episode 1 to 2, you could tell that they cut stuff out.
It feels
character
like the
development
writers
is what
were
they cut out.
undecided. Like,
it might have been like that.
Not Coconut. And then they're like, gosh dang it, Coconut doesn't, like, we need to give her some kind of conflict for her to talk to her mom. Oh my gosh. Indecisiveness.
Yeah, that was
our own problem in.
I mean, the thing is that I was just like, well, I can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
But that shouldn't be the big climax of a huge thing
like,
with a mother that could destroy the universe.
I related to the main character for a second. It was amazing.
Yeah.
At the climax.
Undecisiveness is the thing with this.
What did you think of Mimi at the end? Like, through just the whole... all of that? Because I
thought she was interesting. It was interesting. They made her a serious D-bag for some bits of it, which I loved. It was, when they were talking about, like, her being split up, it was a bit of garbage. It's like they wanted to make Mimi the villain. They really wanted to, so they were just like, let's make it so that you could tell that her actual self, like her good motherly self, is not in control. And I was like...
That's my thought. That was what I was gonna... Yeah. I liked where they were going, but it would have been so much better if it was actually Mimi. Because it would have been... it's so much more interesting, and it makes the stakes so much higher, and it makes it feel so much more intense for it to be a real relatable person, instead of, like, some weird nightmare, like... version of her. And, like, when the whole... like, her deciding to switch to protect Coconut is... like, that can be interesting, but then it's not interesting anymore past that point. If you have her and what she's gone through, like, there is a definite arc for her, and if you have what she's gone through change her so that she's so obsessed with protecting Coconut that, not like obsessed with, she can never make any decisions or whatever.
Well, it is
like,
obsessed.
Like, if you made this real person obsessed with protecting her child to the extent that she just kind of loses it and she just goes way too far, that's so much more interesting than, in order to protect your child switching with an alternate universe version of yourself I don't know. They tried to have their cake and eat it too, and it made me really upset.
Yeah, the thing is that here's what my overall thing is. I could tell that it was an alternate universe her. It was her.
I know, it's not alternate universe. It's another side of her or something. Except it wasn't another side of her.
I thought it was cool that Salt straight up shot his.
That's how I felt. By that point, I was like, heckin' no. And he shot him in the head, and I was just like, yes, this character.
Because I agree with that lifestyle. I don't forget about my mistakes. I accept them. And I was like, yeah!
Bam!
Bam!
It's like, no, none of this, like, weird alternate sides of, like, different sides of myself nonsense. This is
because there was like some Eumeria ending bullcrap at the very, very end.
Honestly,
where it was just
I've blocked Eumeria out.
It's
gone.
I know. I might re-review by myself Eumeria.
Yeah,
because
I'm not doing that with you.
I know. I don't want to put you through that unless we're just like maybe you had the 100,000.
I can't do that again.
Just with me and you watching it along together. And commentating on how bad it is.
It's not even like fun bad. It's just bad.
It is fun bad.
No, it's not.
It was fun bad when we were watching it.
So bad.
Anyways,
okay.
You could tell that they wanted to keep Mimi still there so that Coconut doesn't lose her mom forever.
Uh-huh.
But the thing is that they just wanted to make it so that you could tell that Mimi's a good character, which she was, but you took it too far.
She was a good character until they were like, let's just take the shortcut.
Yeah, and the thing is that with the Nightmare version, I like how insane it gets, but also it did get too far. Like, changing Papika's memories in front of her.
Yeah, that was
so that it would be hers.
Weird.
I was like, that's a D-bag move. Holy cow, you are that determined.
I hated how, like, Papika, all she had to do was remember that Coconut loved her or something. And then suddenly she was, like, invincible.
Okay, yeah, they just touched. Like,
no, I mean, even before that, like,
yeah.
I mean, first of all, that was awful, but, like, before that, she was, like, she's going brain dead here, like, she's having some kind of lobotomy performed on her, and then she remembers how much Coconut loves her, and then everything is fine, and she's like, huh, what, oh, it's fine now.
Yeah.
The focus is on these kids, but they don't actually dedicate any time to making the kids interesting or their relationship believable. Yeah, so I don't know. The focus is all, and then they set up all this so much more interesting stuff all over the place, everywhere else, especially at the end, and then it's like going, and it's so good, and then the way it pays off is bringing it back to this totally unbelievable relationship between these two kids. Mixed feelings.
Yeah, it's mixed feelings. So what would you rate it?
Oh, I don't know. I just the last thing I want to say about it is just the ending where she thinks that pure illusion doesn't exist anymore. And then Paprika shows up and she's like, I thought you were dead. And Paprika's like, oh no, I was just eating chocolate with your dead mom. And and she's like, why didn't you come for me? He's like, yeah, I was just eating candy with your mom. Let's go be friends and have fun. And then Coconut's immediately fine with that. That is such a, like, that sums up the way they portrayed these kids' friendship. Just all this.
Yeah.
It just isn't founded in anything even sort of realistic or relatable or true. It's just founded on... I mean, honestly, it feels like the whole thing that, like, they have this bond because Papikana was like... And Mimi were like, oh, we love this child. And then that just sort of carries over into their friendship, and that's the real basis for their friendship. Like, that's their friendship. That makes so much more sense to me than them having a genuine bond as
well, it
their
seems
own
like
individual
they've
people.
had a bond ever since Papika became a kid again.
Yeah, but it's
because they were insinuating that, and I was like, that's some weird crap that you're probably not going to follow up on, which they didn't.
It's just some magical abstract whatever, and it's not real friendship. I just want them to do a spin-off show where they grow up and they're having adventures and stuff's good, and then Paprika's like,
oh yeah,
so Coconut, I love you.
Don't have
and Coconut's like, yeah, I love you too. And Paprika's like, but more than that. And then Coconut's like, oh.
And then
they have to deal with that, because that would be any character development, or like that's the first real conversation they would have, because they've never had a real conversation.
But then she'd be like, but Papika, aren't you like my mother's age?
True. True. I wanted and you're like, one other thing.
And then like Coconut's like, I'm kind of more into guys, but
people my age.
And people my age.
I think
I
think the last thing I would have wanted from the ending of the show was if, like, I would have been fine with the whole, like, a different side of Mimi. I would have been fine with that whole thing if Mimi, the real Mimi, when she showed up when she appeared in front of Coconut, if she was an adult, because that would have done so much to justify that whole thing, because the weird obsession that evil Mimi has is very childlike and selfish, and and reflects more who Mimi really was as a child, because they said all these kids go to her room and then they don't come back, and but Mimi as a person, as her real self, like, grew up and became a mother and escaped from that weirdness. And it would, I don't know. And it would have also kind of, it also would have justified Papika's and Coconut's weird, inexplicable devotion to each other as well, as just this is what a deep, true friendship is to these kids, and as they grow older together, it will mature and become something more real, because all the things with the grown-ups was super, like, real, and they had real connections, and just that one animated change would have fixed so many problems. And that's my last comment on the show. So I'm going to choose to pretend that she appeared to her as an adult, because it makes the whole show so much better for me.
Okay. So we do things in terms of rating out of 10, Mal-wise, but we don't truly reflect off of the Mal scoring
My
system.
anime list.
Yeah, my anime list.
Which is a website.
So, a 10 would be a masterpiece, 9 is great, 8 is very good, 7 is just good, 6 is fine, average is, 5, and 4 is bad, 3 is very bad, 2 is horrible, and 1 is appalling.
What's your score?
So what was... my score... I'm just going to ramble quickly. Very quickly. Is that okay?
Yeah.
One thing that was just on my mind was Yayaka's arc. Because it bugged me throughout the show for so long. It was so off.
Yeah.
The first 2 episodes, she was just, like, the fun friend. And I liked that.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3rd episode, she comes in being a full-on grade A D-bag out of nowhere. And I'm like, what the heck are you doing? You just punched your best friend in the face with no reason.
And then later
And
she
then,
shows restraint.
yeah,
Like, I don't
yeah,
want to
and then
harm
she
my
becomes
friend.
a tsundere. She becomes a straight-up tsundere. And I'm like, what are you doing?
What's happening? And it's weird to be a
What?
tsundere
Yeah,
to
'cause she's-
someone who
yeah.
you've been friends with for years.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
I don't know how that works. She's like, it's not like I'm your friend or anything, or I'm showing restraint when I'm trying to punch you, Baka. I'm like, what? Just choose something already. And then she goes and suddenly is with the girls, and she's like, yeah, I choose to be her friend. Actually, that bit wasn't the worst. That was actually fine. Where she redeems herself, and she's like, okay, my purpose is that I want to be her friend. I truly love her because I know her. I've been around her my entire life, Papika.
Yeah.
So
I thought I liked that. That was a little bit of character development for Kokuna that they threw in that I liked.
Yeah. So Yayaka was the only one that actually had an arc.
Yeah. Yeah,
she
true.
wasn't even the main character, and she had an arc.
An arc that lasted through the series. That we
it was
saw.
through the first 10 episodes.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much just like Yayaka's show.
Yep.
For that. And Yayaka's arc was predictable and
yeah, but it was an arc.
It was an arc. It was something. It's weird. So I'm going to give my score, because for me, I was debating this with myself for so long last night. Because I was like, this is a 7.5, but I can't give a 7.5. That's right down the middle. I have to give a definitive score. So am I going to say it's a 7 and it's just good? But for me, I was just like, it's either a 7 and it's a strong 7, or it's an 8, but it's a weak 8.
Yeah.
I decided to give it an 8. A weak 8.
Okay, cool.
Very good. Because
cool.
the overall world and everything was so my jam. Like, I didn't like the opening, which apparently a lot of people did. Sorry.
Like the OP?
Yeah, the OP.
Yeah, it was just like, it didn't change, it was boring, nothing happened, it didn't show anything about the characters until we know who the characters really are, and that was made it a little bit more enjoyable.
Yeah.
But
because the thing is that that's the point of the OP, is to kind of show what's happening in the show. But I don't watch the OP until the last 4 episodes.
Oh well, you only watched. You watched it when it was worth anything. So
yeah, because the thing is that the reason why is because it spoils the show, and I don't like that.
This one did not at all.
Well, it showed Yayaka punching stuff and shooting at Kokuna, and seeing as how, if you saw that in the first episode, that ruined things. Stuff like that. But
pretty predictable anyway. But yeah,
there's a lot of predictable.
For me,
stuff.
OPs, it's like it shows like a crazy wild overview of the show, and then as the show goes on, it gets better and better and better. That's what I feel like an OP should be. But yeah.
And I liked the Edie way more.
Oh, I loved it so much. It's the one thing that I can truly say I love about this show.
Yeah, okay. There was one problem I had with it, though.
What?
When the episodes got darker, it was a horrible transition song. Because you'd see, all this, destruction and stuff, and then it goes into the cutesy ending, and you're like, wait.
Because it's just my one, recess. I'm out of class.
Yes, it's okay.
I didn't mind it, because I was like, yes.
Yeah.
We're here.
Yeah, it was that's the only thing that slightly bothered me with it, but it was adorable. It was a great song.
It's great.
Anyways, so I just saw way more good stuff than bad stuff for me. The story, my goodness, that was the main downside. I felt like if the story was good, it would have been probably a really good show. For me, it would have been like a home run. It would have hit it out of the ballpark. Would have been a 9 if it had a great story.
Yeah.
But it didn't. And it was getting tougher and tougher for me to make it an 8 in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even now, it's getting to like a 8.01. Especially with all the points that you brought up, because I'm realizing that I had those exact same thoughts. Because it's just like, I had all those thoughts as you did, and I share the same things. You noticed more stuff than I did sometimes.
Probably because I'm not into cute girls doing cute things shows. Honestly,
and I'm not.
It's just.
And for me, I'm not always into that as well. I can find them boring as well, but I felt like this was actually a more interesting one.
You're tolerant of that at all, and I'm just bored with that
Nah, you're
always.
not.
And so that's probably why.
That's why you're choosing the show next.
Yeah.
For next. Yeah. I know. I said that we were going to switch up anyways.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to give my score now.
Yeah.
So I've shared a lot of opinions, and I'm not gonna restate anything. You know my opinions. There's honestly so much to say about this show, but I'm gonna be done. I would give the first 10 episodes of this show a 6 for fine, because I like if I liked cute girls doing cute things shows, I would probably be fine with this show. Like there ain't for the last 3 episodes, I would give it an 8. It's a hot mess, but it's very good hot mess. It's very good for a hot mess with a 6 to 10 episode start.
Yeah.
And so overall, I'm gonna have to give it a conservative 7.
Okay.
It's good. There are a lot of good things. There are, again, there are a lot of really great things. Most of them don't happen until the very end. The rest of them help you just kind of stick out the most of the show. There are some truly awful things. And there's an overwhelming amount of meh things for most of the show. But once you get to the end, it's crazy. But it's really good, and maybe that's just because I've been sitting through 10 episodes of meh, but, I don't know. I really enjoyed the last 3 episodes. So I'm gonna give it a conservative, a mixed feelings 7.
Okay.
And that's where I land.
Let us know what you thought of Flip Flappers if you've watched the show. This is the end of the second episode of the Anime Ramencast. Thank you for joining us. Make sure to follow Howie on How Does One Person on Twitter and How Does One Person on YouTube.
The Twitter
and follow me.
The number 1. Links in the description.
The number 1.
I'll be putting links.
It will be in the description. Yeah. And follow my anime Twitter and my normal Twitter. So just follow this channel, subscribe to this channel of NanoRamen. You can also subscribe to my main channel of NanoRama to see other wacky stuff if you like.
Wacky shenanigans.
And for the next show, what do you think we should watch?
It's a surprise. We'll announce it on Twitter.
Okay. I guess that's how we're going to continue to do this for the rest of these shows.
Oh, and on the Discord probably also.
Yeah. And on the Discord. We'll see you guys next week. Ramen's out.
Bye-bye!